eyes, there's a heavy blue, one to love and one to lose. Sweet divine, the heavy true.
A growing debate has been bubbling across music forums and social media alike. Is a teenager from Northern England quietly becoming the most remarkable young voice America has ever claimed as its own? In the past few years, Lucy Thomas has become a name that repeatedly surfaces in discussions about emerging vocal powerhouses. What began as a modest rise from a small town in Lancashire has turned into a global online presence, with American audiences taking a particularly strong interest in her work. News outlets covering youth entertainment trends have noted how her videos frequently gain traction in US-based recommendation feeds, placing her side by side with homegrown singers who traditionally dominate the market. The central question that now drives coverage and sparks viewer arguments is whether her vocal ability alone is strong enough to cross national boundaries and position her as a contender for Best Young Singer within the American musical conversation. As this discussion continues to expand, analysts point toward her viral performances, her classical pop crossover appeal, and her consistent audience growth as indicators that the conversation is no longer niche. Instead, it may mark the early stages of a larger shift in how international young artists break into the U.S. spotlight. What remains to be seen is whether this momentum will translate into long-term impact, or if it is another fleeting chapter in the fast-moving digital music world. Few expected a semi-finalist who didn't take home the trophy to become the name, dominating global youth vocal discussions 6 years later. Lucy Thomas first stepped into public view in 2018 on The Voice Kids UK, where her performances established her as a standout even among a competitive field. While she didn't ultimately win the show, entertainment reporters at the time noted the unexpected impact she had on online audiences, many of whom expressed surprise that such a mature tone could come from a young teenager. Shortly after the series ended, she secured a record deal, a development some industry commentators described as the true turning point in her early career. By 2019, Thomas had released her debut album, and her presence began shifting from national recognition to international reach. Viewership patterns revealed a particularly strong uptick from American audiences, who gravitated toward her emotionally charged covers of widely recognized classics. Music journalists began referencing her as part of an emerging trend, young artists bypassing traditional award show pathways and instead cultivating global fan bases through digital platforms. Her swift progression from television contestant to recognized recording artist demonstrated a form of momentum that industry experts often regard as critical for long-term growth. Yet, it was her move to YouTube that transformed her from a promising newcomer into a vocal phenomenon. What started as a single viral cover quickly unfolded into a viewing surge that analysts now cite as one of the most reliable indicators of her rising dominance. Following her debut album, Thomas continued releasing new projects annually, an output pace that reporters have described as unusually consistent for an artist her age. Her blend of classical crossover, pop ballads, and musical theater selections widened her demographic reach, drawing in older listeners accustomed to traditional vocal standards while retaining younger viewers familiar with modern digital music trends. Industry writers have also pointed out how her YouTube presence became one of the primary engines driving her success. A number of her videos have amassed tens of millions of views, reinforcing the perception that her appeal extends beyond casual listeners and into the realm of dedicated fan engagement. Analysts observing this growth highlight the fact that American audiences make up a significant percentage of her YouTube impressions. This has led some commentators to suggest that, while she is decidedly British, her vocal style and clean musical image align closely with American tastes, particularly within the family-friendly and inspirational performance categories. Her trajectory in the digital space positions her not just as a popular teen singer, but as a potential long-term competitor in the international vocal scene. Critics who initially brushed off her rise as a wave of online hype were forced to reconsider once vocal analysts began breaking down the technical precision behind her performances. Music journalists and vocal coaches have repeatedly highlighted Thomas's distinguishing traits: purity of tone, sustained breath control, and the ability to transition smoothly between classical resonance and contemporary styling. Reports examining her performances describe her voice as unusually developed for her age, offering both clarity and emotional weight without relying on heavy embellishment. Her versatility, singing everything from Broadway standards to modern chart hits, reflects a range that many analysts argue exceeds typical expectations for singers in her demographic. Additionally, her ability to collaborate seamlessly with other vocalists, including her sister, adds a dynamic layer to her repertoire, showcasing harmonization skills that contribute to her distinctive sound. These technical strengths are frequently cited as the foundation of her broad appeal, explaining why she attracts listeners across differing musical preferences. While critics acknowledge that vocal ability alone does not determine artistic longevity, they agree that her technical command positions her among the most refined young singers currently active in the digital performance landscape. Yet behind the praise lies a debate that continues to divide music analysts. Can an artist built primarily on covers truly claim the spotlight reserved for top-tier young performers? Despite widespread approval of Thomas's vocal skill, discussions within industry commentary often turn toward one central critique. The majority of her catalog consists of reinterpretations of songs rather than self-written material. While this strategy has clearly benefited her visibility and audience growth, some reporters argue that long-term artistic identity often requires original compositions or a distinctive creative direction. Furthermore, the digital music landscape is saturated with young talent, making it difficult for any single artist to stand out without a defining stylistic signature. Though Thomas has demonstrated signs of artistic evolution, including work in theatrical productions and occasional original tracks, questions remain about how she will shape her identity beyond reinterpretations of established classics. Nevertheless, analysts caution against dismissing her potential prematurely. Many artists begin with covers before transitioning into original artistry once their audience base is secure. Whether Thomas ultimately follows that path is an open question that continues to shape media coverage of her development. But just as some critics began predicting stagnation, new reporting revealed a development that shifted the tone of the entire conversation. In 2024, Thomas reached a notable milestone with her debut in a West End musical, a move that entertainment correspondents described as evidence of her expanding professional legitimacy beyond online platforms. The project included participation in an original cast recording, offering a rare opportunity to contribute to work that is neither derivative nor cover-based. Meanwhile, her digital presence continues to grow steadily, with consistent uploads and a rapidly widening international subscriber base. Market analysts tracking YouTube music trends note that she has maintained high engagement even as the platform becomes increasingly competitive. These developments indicate a level of adaptability that is often considered crucial for longevity in the entertainment sector. If her momentum continues, she may position herself not merely as a successful online vocalist, but as a multifaceted performer capable of navigating several branches of the music and theater industries. So the question remains, based on evidence, does Lucy Thomas truly stand as the most compelling young vocalist American audiences are watching right now? News analysts evaluating her career tend to agree on several points. She displays technical skill well beyond her years, maintains a consistent upward trajectory, and attracts large audiences across multiple regions, including the U.S., where engagement is critical for global relevance. Whether she is definitively the best depends on the criteria used. If the focus is on vocal clarity, emotional delivery, and measurable digital reach, she emerges as one of the strongest contenders currently active. However, if originality and artistic authorship are prioritized, she still has ground to cover compared to peers who write and produce their own material. Regardless, it is evident that her rapid rise shows no signs of slowing, and many reporters believe the coming years will determine whether she transitions from a highly respected young singer into a defining voice of her generation.